Hi friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Olivia, and if you've never seen my face before, you can consider me your fragrance fairy godmother. So the end of the year is upon us, and I was on my phone the other day when I got my Spotify Wrapped playlist, and I thought it could be kind of fun to do my end of the year Spotify perfume wrap list. You see where I'm going with that? To share with you guys the fragrances that I found myself drawn towards over and over this year. So these fragrances did not necessarily come out this year, but they're fragrances that for whatever reason just beckoned my attention. Now I want to call attention to something before anybody comments it to me. I already feel the comments coming on of people saying, that's not even that big of a dent. How could you have liked it that much if there's not a huge dent in it? Fair point. But I want us to all keep in mind a couple key factors when looking at this collection. One being this is my job and I have to try out new fragrances every day, so I don't often get the chance to repeat and repeat and repeat. So my bottles don't have huge dents in them simply because the size of my collection is large, which I would never ever condone a regular person to have this much fragrance at all, guys. This is not aspirational. This is not goals. This is my job, and that's the only reason that I have the collection I do. Secondly, and I learned this recently, I am a light sprayer because I'm friends with other perfume reviewers or people who enjoy fragrances, and they spray more in a day than I spray in a week. My nose is very sensitive, I get migraines very easily, and I am still a full-time hairdresser, so I can't wear a ton of fragrance when I'm floating right over someone's head because I don't want to choke anybody out. So I noticed that the fragrances that I was wearing over and over this year tend to fare on the lighter side because I'm wearing them in my work setting. Because don't get me wrong, I love my dark, rich fragrances. That is where my heart lies. But they're not always the most work-appropriate scents. So with all of that out of the way, if you're here to see my year-end roundup and the things that called my attention, you are in the right place. So grab yourself a little drink, perhaps a little snack, settle in, and let's get into the fragrances. Starting off with a fragrance that I have seen incredibly mixed reviews about, but I love with my whole heart, and that is Valaya by Parfums de Marly. Now, I've seen people say that this does not last long for them. My experience is that this lasted 18 hours plus on my skin and indefinitely on my clothes until I washed it off. It was an absolute powerhouse. And I've described this in the past as smelling ethereal and like a bridal scent. This just smells so pretty. There's no other word for it. It's just pretty. This starts off with some very apparent citrus that actually lasts throughout the duration of the wear because citrus can be quite volatile and tend to dissipate very quickly. So this comes off very bright, very refreshing, very sour and mouth puckering, but it's balanced with some sweetness coming from a peach. Then you get a bouquet of white flowers. Now, when I say white florals, a lot of people think vintage. And to my nose, this does not come off vintage. This is a new wave floral scent that smells very sheer but powerful and very bright, not condensed or dusty like some vintage scent profiles. And this has a very ambroxan heavy base, so it creates that molecular bubble around you that when the top notes fade out, you will have that beautiful warm woody scent on your skin for hours and hours and hours. So if you like floral, but you want something that's citrusy and sweet and girly, I think you would love this. And I adore this no matter what anyone says to me. Another fresh and clean fragrance that I rely on quite a bit when I'm going into work, and I know I need to smell polished and professional, but not overwhelming, is Pure Extreme. This is the most beautiful, elegant, bubble bath, clean skin sort of scent you'll ever smell. This is warm and musky, and it is long lasting, but this does not have as mega a projection as, say, Valaya. This is going to sit more closely to the skin, so that way when people go to give you a hug, you're going to smell freshly bathed, a little bit floral, and just so polished. I feel very refined and put together when I wear this fragrance. I feel professional, but approachable. I myself am not a proponent of blind buying. I think that scent is far too subjective to the individual wearing it and their taste, but this is about as close to blind buy worthy as you're going to get in my collection because I do think that this is a very universally enjoyable scent. Still don't think you should blind buy it, but if you happen to want to get a sample, think it's worth it. Now, speaking of bubble bath scents, I've spoken about this one on my channel many a times that I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about it, but Dia 40 by Amouage. Now, unlike Pure Extreme, where it's very bright and very airy and very sheer, this one is going to be much more vintage, much more aldehydic, much more almost metallic in a sense. This smells like the most expensive 1950s bubble bath that you could ever get your hands on. It's clean and floral, but there is a density to this scent, especially because this is the 40% concentration, which boasts an incredible lasting power. And this one is quite powdery, but this makes me think of an old Hollywood starlet, something that Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, or the likes would wear back in the day to a gala. This is definitely pricey. It is more of a special occasion sort of scent, as it does boast much more of a projection than the last one, but this is a beautiful scent that I don't find too overwhelming to wear on a day-to-day basis, but be fair warned, it does have a vintage quality that's not going to read with everybody. I just happen to love it. Speaking of Amouage, Guidance is still in heavy rotation over at this house. This is as far from blind buy worthy as possible. This is an incredibly polarizing scent that I've had some people tell me that they cannot stomach. But I think that this is an utter masterpiece. And this year they came out with the concentrated 46 version that to my nose comes off a little bit more fruity, a little bit more smooth, and a little less polarizing. I still remain that I like the funk of this one better. There's a sweetness, there's a sourness, there's a saltiness, there's a woodiness, there's a floral. It's like all the elements combine into the most intoxicating elixir. This will forever be in my collection, and yes, this is bottle number 2. Speaking of bottle number 2, I have now gone through 2 travel sizes, and I am on my 3rd travel size of a fragrance that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not like when I first tried it. I think I even talked shit on this channel. Something clicked, and I've just been chucking this bad boy in my purse as an easygoing wear regularly. And that's Donna born in Roma. See, this is what I get for talking shit, because now I like it and it discredits my entire stance. I like this one because it's just an easygoing, girly, compliment-getting fragrance. It's floral, it's a little bit powdery, it's sweet, but when I first tried it, I genuinely thought it smelled like baby wipe. But one day I was running out of the house, I just whooped open my drawer of travel sizes, and I grabbed the top thing off, and it was this. And I had a lot to do that week, so I was barely home, I barely went into my perfume room, and I just lived off the sample in my purse. Everywhere I went, I got compliments. Oh, you smell nice. Nothing extravagant or over the top, oh my god, write that down right now, but almost everyone who interacted with me said I smelled pleasant. So do I think it's the most groundbreaking thing in the world? No, I don't. But do I think that it gets the job done? Yeah. Smells good. It lasts, it has a decent projection, and it's not terribly expensive. So I'm gonna get another travel size of this when I run out. Nana nana. On the completely opposite end of the spectrum is a fragrance that from the moment I smelled it, I could not get enough, because I have expressed to you guys my deep love for the Hinoki body cream from Le Labo over and over. I will forever purchase that scent because it feels like home. And some people say it smells like dried wood chips. I don't care, I like it. But they do not have a perfume version of that scent, so I have been searching for it forever. And I found one that is very similar, and it just so happens to be under $100. And that is Wood Haze by Neydo. And this is a very dry, woody scent. So you're getting some Palo Santo, you're getting sandalwood. I personally don't pick up on anything pickly, but some people are finicky with sandalwood, so try at your own discretion. But there's the slightest bit of resinous sweetness in the base coming from an amyris, and there's a little bit of damp earthiness coming from an oak moss that makes me feel like I'm walking through the Hinoki forest in Japan. Very dry wood, a little bit smoky, the slightest touch of a sappy sweetness, but also a little bit of spongy mossiness. It's stunning. I think I'm gonna wear this tonight. So if you like woody fragrances, this is actually a very clean, very easy wearing woody scent that I think a lot of people enjoy because it smells like it's intrinsic in nature. Especially if you're gonna be around people who don't like perfumey perfume, this one would be perfect. Another one that you guys should have known was going to be on this list is a new love for this year, and a little bit of a surprising love, and that is Lavender Cloud by Being Frenchy. I've been saying Being French this entire time, but this is Ashley Tisdale's line, and I was on Instagram and she was talking about the line and she said being Frenchy. And I was like, oh my god, I feel so stupid. So in the past, lavender fragrances and I haven't really gotten along because they're either really sweet like they are in YSL Libre, or they come off overly scratchy, over medicinal, and really intensely sharp and herbal. And Lavender Cloud is the most perfect descriptor for the scent because I wear this to bed and I feel like I am floating on a cloud. I have bought this in every single format that it comes. It comes in lotion, it comes in body wash, it comes in oil. All the formats, I have them. And this is my bedtime staple. The lavender is so delicate. It's lightly sweet, but not sticky or overbearing. And it's such a comforting, calming scent that makes me sleep like a goddamn baby. And it helps that it is a super affordable scent as well, so I can go ham if I want to. But hold up. I actually have another lavender fragrance that I've taken a liking to this year, and that is House of 8 by Snif. And this one is a chocolate lavender scent. And I love that the chocolate in this is fluffy. So this comes off herbal, yet sweet, yet powdery, and dries down a little bit sultry, a little bit sexy. And the lasting power of this above all the other Snif fragrances is fantastic. Although it has a little bit of sweetness coming from the chocolate, this one feels a little bit more unisex than the last. So I know a lot of guys that enjoy this as well. So if I want lavender, but I'm not looking for cozy bedtime, and I'm looking for something a little bit sweet and a little bit sexy, I'm going with House of 8. Speaking of chocolate, this next one almost has a chocolatey essence, but it has no chocolate in it, and that is Pochette Paris. Now there's so many different types of patchouli that are used in fragrances, and they tend to get a bad rap because a lot of patchouli smells very dirty, very herbal and medicinal, and just unpleasant and scratchy. But whatever patchouli they used in this borders on natural dark chocolate smell. So it smells bitter, it smells husky, but it has this warm earthiness that's very comforting, not scratchy at all. And the way that this melds into my skin becomes warm and earthy, a little bit powdery, with the slight bit of saltiness coming from an ambergris. I wore this the other day to the movies, and just the entire time I just kept going. So it's cozy in an unusual way. It's not sweet, but it feels like Mother Nature herself has you cradled to her bosom. Hands down, one of the best patchouli fragrances I've ever tried. Another one that I've taken a liking to that is a great affordable option is Vanilla Skin by Flur. Now I know that they came out with the perfume version, but I'm not joking when I say the body mist version lasts me about 10 hours. You absolutely do not need to get the perfume version. This is the longest lasting body spray that I've ever tried. This is vanilla, but this is a dark, rich, smoky, woody vanilla that makes you feel like you're a witch in the forest. But this is another one that garners big reactions from people. Not a subtle, oh, you smell nice. This is a, oh my god, you smell good. Write that down. And I use this to layer over top so many of my fragrances, whether it be chocolatey or vanilla or woody. I add this on top of things and it just gives it this sultry, smoky, sexy vibe. This stuff is good. But skip the perfume and just go for the body mist. It's more affordable and it lasts. It really does. And no, I don't bathe in it to make it last, I promise. Unlike the subtle fragrances that I've been talking about in the rest of the video, this next one is anything but subtle. Shaga Food by Swiss Arabian. This is humongous. This is bold. This is rich. This is dark. This is a bombastic oud, rose, and sweet fragrance that will make a statement. I love wearing this fragrance when I'm going out. When I have myself dolled up to the nines and I want to be the center of attention, this is what I'm gonna grab. It is sweet, it is woody, it is intoxicating, and it is nuclear. Nuclear. If you are sensitive to fragrances, run. This is not for you. But if you like to be garish and outspoken, you want people to ask what the hell you have on, this is the one. This is a 1 to 2 sprays maximum situation for me because overdoing this can make me feel ill, and I've done that to myself in the past, and it was a nightmare. Let me just say, if you're gonna be partying hard and you're not gonna feel the greatest in the morning, don't wear this one. One that I've been drawing for this year a lot when I want to feel happy and uplifted and unserious is Eden Sparkling Lychee from Kayali. I have 3 bottles of this because this is very fruity, sparkling, like champagne, like sweet, bubbly, girly champagne. There's a light bit of florals in this, but they come off sugared and very delicate. And I tend to be an overthinker. I tend to be a very serious person. There's always something going on. I'm really focused in on my work. And some days I just want to feel light. I just want to feel out of my head a little bit. And this scent really does that for me. And for some reason, people really don't think I'm being genuine when I say I like Kayali fragrances because they say they don't last, or they're too cheap smelling, or they're too young and girly. I like how they make me feel. Because as a highly anxious, highly serious person, some days I just want to feel a little light, a little uplifted, and this is what does it for me. Another perfume that was in heavy rotation this year, and one that I would call the most beautiful iris scent in my entire collection, is Iris de Champs. This just has this beautiful, fluffy, powdery floral scent that leans a little bit classic, but this just cuddles you in a cocooning warmth of a creamy musk, a vanilla, a milky sandalwood. Ugh, this scent is so good. If you like soft, fluffy scents, if you like powdery floral scents, this is signature scent worthy, hands down, through and through. By nature of needing to test out a lot of fragrances in my collection on a daily basis, I do not have a signature scent, but if all of this were to go away and I had to be known for a scent, this would be top of my roster. It's timeless, it's beautiful, it's elegant, it's comforting, but it's statement. This is everything and more. And lastly is one that might piss some of you off a little bit, and that is Chanel No. 5. Before I was a reviewer, this smelled like cat piss to me, but now that I've worn it several times, I'm addicted. I don't even care. And I just genuinely think it depends on who wears the scent, because I've had people compliment me on this scent, and when I say, yeah, it's Chanel No. 5, people are like, what? That doesn't, no. Because on my skin, this smells soapy. It smells like soap. It smells like I had a good bubble bath, but like a really luxurious bubble bath at like a nice hotel. Is it kind of old school? Absolutely. But have we seen from the fragrances that I've pulled from this year that I do not mind a vintage smelling fragrance whatsoever. And I kid you not, I wore this bad boy on Halloween and I got 4 compliments within an hour. 4. So is the scent profile maybe a little bit too mature for me? Probably. Do I care? Nope. In this house, you wear whatever you want to with no judgment. We listen and we don't judge. So those are the fragrances that I've had heavily in my rotation this year. For whatever reason, they just kept calling my name, even though I know that I'm supposed to be testing out other fragrances. And I was honestly pretty shocked to see how many vintage fragrances I wore this year and how many clean and fresh fragrances I wore, but it makes sense because of my job. But I'm curious to hear from you guys. Was there any fragrances that you really fell in love with this year and you just kept wearing them over and over? Leave me a little comment down below. And next week is actually going to be our last video of 2024, so I'm going to be talking about the best and worst fragrances that came out during the year. So if you made it this far, help me compile my list. Which one was the best release and which one was the worst release? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next weekend, and until then, take care of yourselves, my friends.